That's pretty good. Yeah, I remembered to put mascara on this eye. It just looks smaller than the other one today. What is up with that? Kind of funny, kind of funny, kind of funny, kind of funny, kind of funny. Oh, my goodness. Come on in, have a seat. Join us. And if there's somebody you know out there that might benefit from a little bit of a witchy chit chat with me and Grim, he'll be here in just a second. He's warming up our tea and coffee. Well, if you can think of someone that might benefit from, you know, poking their head in here for a minute and seeing if it's kind of the vibe they're looking for, might have information they need or are seeking, feel free to share it. And if you're out there and are watching right now, even if it's several hours later, please do say hello in the comments down below, because it does help the algorithm, I'll be honest. But also, we like to know who's out there. And even if you're just a lurker that likes to, you know, stay in the background, I get it, I understand that. But still, pop your head in once in a while and say hello, just hello, so that we know that you're there. And welcome everybody. Thank you for tagging others if you know folks that are normally here. I was a little bit late today because so here's the funny thing. Grim and I, thank you, my love. What the heck is that? Is that a cup full of tiny M&Ms?
Yes.
How did we get such tiny little M&Ms?
I got them for Grinch night, but we didn't do Grinch night.
We didn't do Grinch night. Grinch night is a tradition that we do around the Covenstead, but we didn't do it this year simply because we ran out of steam. But it is, we watch every available Grinch movie that we have, and we make popcorn and with marshmallow cream and diet green, and then put little red M&Ms in it, and sometimes, you know, whole marshmallows as well, and then mix it all up like a Rice Krispie treat, or those popcorn balls you may remember from decades ago. Well, that's Grinch popcorn, and that has been a tradition in our family. And this year, it's the last couple of years, it's been a hard one to fulfill. I know it seems like it should be an easy thing to fulfill, but it really, well, it's just like the holidays.
This year, it was a case of we couldn't find a single Grinch movie.
Yeah, this year they're all locked down tight, aren't they? I know we used to have one when we lived in Port Townsend, and now I wish that I'll bet you we left it behind, or somebody bought it out of our box of DVDs. Yeah. Bummer. That was a hard thing to downsize to, living in a bus. That was really difficult. And it's kind of interesting because I know I'm jumping all around the place here, but you know, tis as the crow flies, and the crow is flying already. So, so bear with me. My dear friend and sister Christine, who, you know, gosh, I've known her since I was about 22 years old, and she's a blessed person in my life. My life would not be the same without her, and but she is a bit of a everything is a keepsake. Everything is a keepsake. And I think she may have inherited that from her mom. They both love antiques. I mean, the antiques that I have seen, decorate the halls and walls of the places that they've lived. It's just remarkable. They used to have enough antiques on their own to open a smaller-ish antique store, but still, if you've seen pictures of the chapel, it filled the chapel, and she didn't really need consignments, although she did have a few. But a lot of things got boxed up and sold or put away or whatnot, and she really puts a lot of value in old dresses that she wore when she was 16 years old. And of course I understand pictures and whatnot, but I realized today, as I was listening to her, like going through the painful process of having to choose if she's going to keep something or get rid of it, I realized that I met that lesson years and years ago, and I have relived that lesson several times where I have let go of really important things, not by choice necessarily, but one thing leads to another kind of thing, and suddenly that item that was worth gold to you is no longer to be found. Hold on one moment. So I've been talking to her, so is Grim, about up on the loft there are just tons of old and antiquated books, and there are all kinds of collections of magazines and sewing patterns, and it's just so much fun to look through the boxes when you can get to the organization, right? Yeah. But she puts so much value in this material stuff. And I remember feeling that way in the past, and I still do to some extent, don't get me wrong. My son and daughter-in-law thought of me last summer when they were going to one of their conventions that they went to, and bought me this hat. So it was like an early birthday present a while back. This has sentimental value to me, this hat does. And so I can see this being, something that I want to keep near and dear and close to me at all times. But someday it might get put in a box somewhere. It might get placed somewhere that says Gussie's things. And that's okay too. But when we get to the point where they're in a box just for us to forget about them, then you got to ask yourself why. It's kind of like compartmentalizing memories or something. I don't know. I know it's awfully quiet out there as I'm talking about this, so let me know what you think, because I know a lot of you are, in a similar boat where you've got things you want to downsize or sort through some stuff and maybe get rid of some things and make room for some more crystals. Brooms.
Here's the special kind of conundrum, though, that Christine finds herself in.
What's that?
As I've been going through the loft, and I pull up a box that is an entire year's worth of Time Life magazines from 1940.
Mm-hmm.
What do? Because there's some value there, not just emotionally, but intrinsically. There's value there.
Right.
That's history.
Right.
What do? Put it back in the box and shove
You're
it
right,
back
babe.
in the
You're
corner?
right, because
I don't think I don't myself personally, nothing should be shoved in the corner. If it's worth holding on to the memory, it's worth putting that memory out on display. But then again, that's why our house always looks like a little witchy cottage.
Our house is always in flux. There's always things in motion.
Yeah.
flower bouquets and dried branches and bones, and not human bones, just other kinds of bones. Well, there is a skull, but I don't think that's real. No, I'm just teasing. Of course it isn't. But anyways, yes, there's, this time of year when we've just acquired new things, right? It was just, if you celebrate the solstice, you may have exchanged gifts. If you celebrate Hanukkah, if you celebrate Kwanzaa, if you celebrate Christmas, if you celebrate the Yuletide, Saturnalia, Mithras birthday, whatever, you may have exchanged a gift with someone. And so you now may have to find a new location for an object or a possession that you didn't have in the past. And so it's a good time for us to take, a few moments to, as we're moving things over and dusting things off a little bit, to make some new room on the shelf. It's good to revisit those objects and to find out, do you still want to keep them in that space, or is it time to move them to the box? And realize that oftentimes once you move it to the box, it's entered into, that's going to be someone else's responsibility someday. Typically, when you put it in a box at that point and it goes on, in the attic or in the storage shed somewhere with your name on it in a year or whatever, typically those boxes don't get opened very often. And so choose wisely what you put in there. And if things don't mean anything anymore, if you can't remember where they came from, that's one pointer. But if it still brings you joy to look at, then keep it. But if it's something that is just collecting dust and driving you a little crazy because A, you don't know where it came from, B, you never really liked it all that much in the first place, C, it's dusty beyond witchy dust, and there's an acceptable level of witchy dust, right, that we love cobwebs and dust. I mean, we're okay with it. But there also comes a time when, like, something starts to look white because it's covered in dust sometimes. Those things need to go. And make some room for some new things. Make some new things come into your space. And I wanted to share a few new things that Grim and I acquired over the holiday weekend. We were... Hold on, just doing a little bit of clearing the energy here. A little bit of clearing the energy, just letting go of that which no longer serves us. Woo! I was just buzzing along in my teaching there that I wasn't even paying attention to the number of people that came in here with, yes, I feel a certain level of peacefulness coming from quite a few of you, but there's also this level of exhaustion that I think is surprising some of you. Because in the past, by now, you've been able to kind of bounce back and, get back to whatever the pace was before Christmas. It's usually the, Christmas Day and the day after, but then the next day, you're kind of back in the saddle again. But it feels like some of us have had a hard time with that. And just know that there is, first of all, Mercury retrograde energy going on right now, which, doesn't have to mean that your world is going to fall apart, but it does mean that the universe is going to push technical issues in front of you, electrical issues in front of you. If something's bound to break, it's bound to break during a retrograde season like this. But don't look at it and get upset about it, as we've said in the past. Don't pull your hair out of over these small situations, even though it might feel like, oh my God, just one more thing. But allow yourself to go, oh, thank you, universe, for allowing me to see that this table wasn't sturdy. You know, thank goodness one of my kids didn't sit on the edge of it or something like that. So things that break down, cars and computers, and it's ridiculous sometimes during a Mercury retrograde season how things like that are affected. But, you know, the truth is that they can be. And as long as you don't let yourself get overly, absurdly upset about these things and just kind of roll with it, go with the flow. Which brings me round to talking about that new full moon energy from last night, you know. Full moon energy, go with the flow. It's your time to embrace that deepest nature, that fullest of feelings that you have in connection to Mother Gaia and Mother Moon. You know, it is a cosmic night, and we're right, you know, the effects of a full moon begin several nights before and consist several nights after, even though it's not as full, we're still in that kind of, you know, we're still sort of in that engorgement phase of the moon. And so, and we're drenched in the sodium particles that we are bathed in following a full moon cycle. So it's a perfect time to be doing some work, some witchy work, getting down to some business, cleaning some things, moving some things aside, deciding what needs to go. You know, we've got the new year cycle coming up as well. And we'll talk more about that on maybe even tomorrow on the 28th, because tomorrow is a Purple Door Witch Wave, and we are discussing the alchemy of the moon. And so this includes the last full moon that we're still bathing in the glow of. So you might want to join us for that one. It's 9 p.m. There's a online ritual that usually goes along with it, meditation kind of thing. And it's free. You just got to be a member of the Purple Door. So check that out. That's 9 p.m. tomorrow night. I wanted to show you a few of the things that I acquired over the weekend that are from Purple Door Witches that I thought you might like. There was a third thing here, but where did it go? Oh, heavens. Well, if I find it, I'll show it to you the next 420 Tarot. But one of the things that we received was this pretty little card. It's, you know, a card. It's American Greetings. But she crossed off the word holiday and wrote Yule above it. May your Yule be trimmed with everything merry and bright. This is from Purple Door Witch Lily. But the thing that makes it special is I saw online a few days before the last Mystic Fair, which is when she gifted this to us. They had been posting a picture of a Yule goat that they had drawn. And I made a comment about it being so cute. She hadn't been drawing for a while, so she was just really proud of herself for getting out some pens and, you know, creating this little thing. But I had no idea when I was complimenting her on it that it was on my card that she created it. So, you know what? I'm proud of her for taking that step and, you know, getting back out there with a sketch. I hope it continues. I hope it doesn't stop there. That's, you know, that's something to make room for, isn't it? That's something to make room for. Maybe move aside some books that you're not going to read for a while and put there instead a blank sketchbook with some colored pencils or some markers. I don't know. Make room for some new stuff. The other thing that I want to show you, and this is I think it's my favorite. Well, excluding, oh my goodness, look at that. I got to put that back on there. Holy moly. Did you see that? Okay, magic is afoot. So I'll tell you, aside from the gifts that I received from my children, because That's right. That's what I was going to show you. Mist made a little bracelet. I used to collect piggies when I was younger, and it's one of their favorite animals right now. I think they would say a piggy is their spirit animal. Piggy or fox or cat. It's hard to say. But anyways, they made me this bracelet. And so that came into my possession. So those things are, of course, unique and whatnot. But of the gifts that were not sentimental gifts from my children, this is by far my favorite. It is a witch bottle. And it is, well, gosh, it's made by Shannon. Shannon and her husband Michael were able to join us, and Lily, by the way, with the Yule goat. We were all involved in a solstice Yuletide celebration on the 22nd. We even sang some carols, and it was a lovely gathering. We had hot cocoa, well, lukewarm cocoa, and Shannon gifted me with this. And it's just a beautiful thing. I even noticed there's a tree of life that wraps this crystal. I don't know if she wrapped that crystal or not. But it's just gorgeous, and I love it. And it's found its new spot already on my dresser. And
that's your morning ritual dresser.
That's where I do my ablutions. But here's the witchy part. I picked this up and attached around it, and before I pulled it off, I didn't even think about it being magical. There is hair attached to it. And I know that's not from Shannon, at least I don't think so. It looks more red than that. So I'm going to leave that hair on there for a minute because although it's quite unattractive,
there's a reason it was there.
There's also, and it might be my hair because that one's kind of like mine. But anywho, yeah, let's leave the hair on there for a little while. And I have a problem with hair, so that is not an easy statement for me, but it felt like it was meant to be there. Not through Shannon, but I feel like the fates, or call it whatever you will, I feel like there's supposed to be some hair wrapped around there. Shannon, what color did your mother-in-law, what color was her hair? Just wondering. Okay, I would like to light this candle, the pink lotus candle that I recently found. I just like to light this and call all souls that feel a similar vibration, that don't mind spending a little quality time chatting it up with Grim and I at 420-ish tarot.
NT.
What?
NT.
NT. And Kelly, because she's always here too now. She's always joining us. But I just, I want to light that candle, knowing that we are safe and protected, and, we have gathered in this space before. It's kind of like if you've got the key, you can get in the door, and here we are. And I like that. I like the intimacy of this group that gathers here. And it's funny, people will come and go, but it typically stays right around the same number of actual live stream viewers. And it's really synergistic and cool. And I love it. And so whether you drop in once a month, once a week, or, all 3 times a week that we do our live stream at 420, I know that many of you recognize the energy in this space, and so you're welcome to be here. Just make sure that you kind of leave your troubles at the door for a while right now. Leave them outside of the circle that we've gathered around us, because this is a space for respite. This is a space for healing, a space for gathering with kindred spirits. This is a space where we feel a safe haven to just be ourselves and try to better understand not only who we are, but what is our purpose here? Here on this plane of existence, in this realm, as we try to navigate our next best step, we call upon our ancestors and our own past lives. And sometimes those intertwined and crossed over in many ways that you wouldn't believe. We call upon any from the Fey realms or realms other than ours that are here for our utmost and highest good, including animal, plant, and crystal allies that are here amongst us now. May their presence be shown, may their presence be known, and their wisdom be shared as we grow amidst the toxic field that many of us stand upon the threshold of our homes, and we look out and we think, what has come to this world? That murky muckiness out there is all around, but you know what? There are many of us that are standing tall, withstanding, bright and tall, with our pink lotus blossom in full bloom. And I know that if you look closely enough there, you just might find a purple door. Yep, you just might find a purple door.
You know, as you were talking there, Gussie, and you brought in the Fae, I think the Fae played a practical joke on me this weekend.
Oh, the Fae have been having a blast. When you first came down here earlier, when I just went live, I was going to start talking about some of the trickstery things that they've been doing.
Yeah. Like hiding your phone?
Like hiding my phone right before 420.
And the cards.
And my tarot cards, right? Those were hidden. But also a ham from Christmas time.
That's right.
We've lost an entire ham. How does one do that? But we've lost a ham.
That was cited in the fridge just days before.
Yeah, just cited in the fridge a day or two before, because we were double checking that things were thawed out and, you know, were under control for the meal on Monday. But, and also Grim still hasn't found his wallet, which that's been missing for a while. And yes, of course, you know that we've been honoring the Fae, but we found that when we arrived here, they were kind of starved, weren't they?
I'm not sure. See, it's
Christine is so protective.
I was going to say, there's a very, very effective protective shield around this property.
If you can imagine this church with a beautiful purple dragon wrapped around it. That's this.
This spiritually, this church. But then on the other side of that, how many people that have walked through this building over the years to use it as a wedding have asked if they could sprinkle their own kind of magic around the property?
Right.
So then you get this incoherent mismatchy of magics that are being utilized.
Right.
It's
right. When it was October.
It's Loki land.
Yeah, it's Loki land. When we were, it really is. There is some havoc going on. There's just always under the surface here at the old church, which, you know, we're kind of accustomed to it. But Christine has such a routine.
Yeah.
And she has things just locked in so well that if something is out of step or out of place, she
feels it.
She feels it, right. And so missing a ham is kind of a big one, because who loses hams like that? We all know right where it was. We all saw it just days ago. I guess the gods wanted some ham for Christmas. But anyhow, no, but the Fae, yes, we have left them numerous things.
The one that I gotta take Callie outside, she's having a potty emergency. But the one that gets me
What do you say she has to go?
Huh?
She has to do what?
Shittle.
Shittle?
She has to piddle and then spread that shit everywhere with the kicking.
Shittling. Anywho.
What got me over the weekend was the Christmas spider. That one floors me.
Oh. Yeah, but you're going to need to talk about that one because that was your magic that you experienced. Although I will say I remember putting that spider in the tree.
When?
Last year when we had that white tree out at Christmas time.
Well, that's just fun. I got to take Callie outside.
Anyhow, let's draw a card while Grim is taking the doggy out, and then maybe he'll tell us that story about the Christmas spider, because it was a really, really cool little story that happened around the Christmas tree the other day. And yes, we do have a Christmas tree up this year. We actually have our tree up with, and it's covered in some of Jem's pendulums. It's quite lovely that way. And I actually think that I'm going to leave it up like that all the time, and just when we go to shows and fairs, or when we set up for the Mystic Fair here. Hold on, I got to do my 7 shuffles here. Then I will just leave them on the tree. They're really pretty, and the tree is white. You may have seen a picture of it. I've lost count. My little old cards are getting so flimsy flopsy. I told Grim last night, does it ever occur to either one of us that maybe we should officially really retire this deck? But we both enjoy it so much, so I said maybe we should just get like just replace this one with the same cards. But what fun is that? Everybody likes to have their own collection of tarot cards, but this one has just been such a joy to work with. I hate to let her go, and so does Grim. He's more comfortable with this deck than he is with his own tarot deck that's been gifted to him. So all right, let's see here. I'm gonna pull a card. This is for the group, and it's got to be that one, because that one is just calling. It was kind of sticking out on its own. The 7 of Cups in the reversed position. Okay, let's see here. This one kind of surprises me right now, but I mean, this has not been on my mind at all the last several days. That wasn't ancestors. That was not ancestors. Not the same. Nope, not the same. Woo! It was the hit off that pen I took just now. It's too much haze and vape in the way. Bless you. All right, now back to what I was saying about the 7 of Cups card. It's in the reverse position, and what this card is speaking to me about is that I'm just going to lay it out there, you're afraid to recognize your own divinity. It's like there's still that part of you that wants to feel tiny and small and not part of the bigger picture. There's a part of you, I think, that feels if they keep their head down, they won't be noticed. If they keep doing what they're supposed to do without making any complaints, following through on the same, pattern, then things will just go along, swimmingly. But actually, what happens is we start to feel like all we're doing is just filling somebody else's cup and really not replenishing our own. And I know that I talked about this yesterday during the Tarot Tuesday reading. I was the reader for yesterday's Tarot Tuesday. And I don't remember which card this came up, and it wasn't this particular card, I don't believe, but it was something similar. Hold on. It's going to be an interruption. Hi, Miss.
How did you know that?
Hi.
I love you.
I love you too. The dog slop is on the counter.
No, I can't remember what I was just about to say about this card. Oh, yes, I remember what it was. It's been coming up a lot recently about how we spend our energy, where we focus our time. Because you know as well as I do that where you focus yourself, that's what you're manifesting. So if you set yourself to worrying all the time about a terrible outcome, you're making it even worse on yourself because you're actually adding to the fearful, distressed energy around you. Does that make sense?
Ooh.
So even though Grimm and I talk about how we aren't batteries, we don't need to chug in as much energy as we can and then hold it like this. We can let it go, because the thing is that that's why there's energy all around us all the time. It's ours to just transmute, transfigure, draw in that breath and change it into something useful for yourself. Flow with it. But if you're constantly throwing out these fearful, negative emotions out there, what's the universe going to dish back at you?
I had a kind of a revelation just a moment ago, Gussie.
What's that, babe?
We aren't batteries. We are conduits.
We're
we
conduits.
Want it to flow. And energy is boundless.
Energy is boundless.
It is, in the universe, it is infinite. And the infinite number of possibilities that it can manifest.
Right.
There is only one thing that is finite, though.
What's that?
And that is our life energy. The energy that our body is allocated to exist within.
Right. And that's what I was going to touch base on as well, because it kind of came up in yesterday's tarot reading, but it came up again when I look at this card. Some of us feel, even though it was kind of exhilarating being with family and friends again over the last few days and receiving presents and gifting presents, because that's so much fun. You know what I mean? I love giving people things when I'm able to do so. I love receiving things too. It's a wonderful experience. But I still walked away feeling exhausted, as I'm sure a number of you have done as well. And I think it's because we get ourselves to the line of we're supposed to be a conduit, right? But to be a conduit, that means you take in enough energy to fill in all the spaces inside of the conduit itself. It's got to run through the conduit and then, be dispersed on the other side again. But I think we sometimes let our conduitness get depleted below a level of
The
good
pressure,
flow.
The energy flow through. It's fun because I view it like an irrigation system.
It's a physics thing, isn't it?
It's hooked to a well. The well has an infinite supply of water inside of it. But it will never run dry in this imaginary well. And in that well, I've got pipes stuck into it that are coming up to the surface to irrigate my fields. And if I'm running my magic right, if I'm running it in balance, the amount of pressure that the well is able to produce is the amount of pressure that my sprinkler system throws out. So there isn't a backlog.
Right.
There isn't a back pressure slowing the flow down. And there isn't so much pressure that it's depleting the space within my conduit with dead air. Because it's now trying to pump faster than the magic can give it. So it's...
Well, that's why it is so important to have those little, I call them anchor points, around your space, around your place. Whether you're the kind of person that loves to have dried flowers in an old pitcher on a table with just the right, angle, or if you're the kind of person that loves antlers on the wall, or, jars hanging from the ceiling. Whatever your particular pitch is, that is your deal. That is your what's the word? Aesthetic. That's your aesthetic. That's your experience. But allow yourself to recognize those happy anchor points throughout your day, because those are the things that keep us from getting completely depleted. When you're, for a minute, you can just flop in a chair and allow yourself to rest, your eyes to rest on that mirror and the way that it captures the pentacle that's hanging on the wall opposite the mirror itself. I just continually want to take a picture of that, and I will one of these days.
That's why when we decorate, and I haven't had a realization of this until just now, to this extent, we create motifs throughout the home, little dioramas.
We do.
Different little pockets of experiences. So no matter where we're at, when we sit down to take our moment to relax, there's something that we can look at that goes, there's our magic.
And now you'll understand why when I go in the kitchen, my two places that my eyes will rest is the sink area, which kind of encompasses that green cabinet.
Yeah.
Or the other side with the microwave under it, but those 3 teapot shelves.
Oh.
So now you see why when I walk in there and I'm looking for my anchor or my peaceful spot in there, there isn't one. It used to be also I could look out in the parlor, the pantry. But that's overrun right now as well. So I avoid that space. But anyhow,
but that is why you do that then.
Yes.
And that makes more sense to me now.
I have.
Why you need that function plus.
I've got to have, and I'm not saying every person is like that. I don't know if you're like that or not. Raise your hand if you are, but I like to have things. I know I can't keep it like Better Homes and Gardens perfect around me all the time. That's why there are a few areas that I have designated as like, that's one of my spots. It almost might be considered, when I really think about it, they're all like little altars. Grim.
Yes, they are.
They're little altars in and of themselves.
Yes, they are.
But the foundation in the kitchen is always a mess. Damn it. So how does that 7 of Cups card in the reverse position feel to you? How do you connect with your divinity? And are you kind of looking the other way, kind of not taking on all the responsibility of it, trying to stay sort of under the line where you're not really bouncing forward in the limelight? I certainly understand that. And then like Grim was saying, and it's just slipped my mind, Michael can laugh now. We should count the number of times that I have these moments where my mind just goes blank. Blip. Scrub the screen. I don't know what were you just talking about? With this, we were talking about this card and how we spend our energy.
How we spend our energy. The well of magic is infinite, boundless.
Oh, right. And we were talking about anchors.
Yes.
Visual anchors, right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you're a visual person or not, but you ought to try it. You ought to try it, because when I allow myself to just let my eyes rest in that space and enjoy the way it looks. And like I said, whether it's a big hunk of leather or, you know, something that you've created with your hands and, you know, antlers or whatever, or something a little more frilly and gussied up, that doesn't matter. What matters is that it's pleasing to your eye. And
we almost have to have those multiple different little altars and stages and dioramas throughout the house because our collection tastes are so varied. They're so
they are.
I mean, we collect everything from pretty silk flowers to skulls and bones.
Yeah, we do.
So, yeah.
We do.
And we don't tend to box anything away.
So, hey, I'm going to say hello to some folks.
Yep.
Because I feel like we've been ignoring everybody out there. I'm sorry about that. We just... full moon energy, I guess. I don't know. Hello, Christy Reed and Jane and Susan and LJ and Victoria Williams and Carla and Christina and HJ Raven. Oh, and Christina Pilskog Whimsy. Just so you know. LJ's here and Deb. Hello, hello, she says. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. Denny's here and Michelle Kleckler Caps is here. And Michelle, if you're still watching, I will get back to you with your question. I did read it. I just have been busy since the holidays. Okay. Brandon, hello, hello. Jacqueline, hello. We're talking about you earlier today. I bet you can guess why. I need your address. I need the updated one because I feel like I always lose the one and then you move, although you're going to probably tell me you haven't moved. So I'll have to look and see, or you could just send me your most recent address. But I'll probably forget to text you that. So hopefully you'll text me your correct address. Oh my goodness, my life. Virginia Chase is here. She says she's out of the loop, keeping up with all of you. That's okay. Dive right in. It doesn't matter. We love to have you. Victoria's here. And, oh, I got to see V. I forgot about that. She was at that gathering for Yuletide where we actually caroled. And I was proud of all of us because none of us are super confident singers. But we still chimed right into Jingle Bells and whatnot. And so it was a wonderful experience.
I love that choir book, that caroling book that you found up there in the attic.
Yeah, that was fun. That caroling book was fun. It was, I don't know when it was from, but it was old.
Yeah.
Christina, I want to read what you've written, but it keeps, every time I click on it, I'm learning about myself. Much of what I have, I use seasonally. So I've been focusing first on what I use in the daily in our home. And my next phase is to set up 2 more spaces. Okay. Well, best of luck with that. You know, keep on keeping on. That's the magic that called to you. So, you know, I'm so happy for you that you've made the choices that you have, and many blessings in that direction as well. You know, you deserve to be in your happy space. You really, really do. Susan says, "Oh, come all ye faithful." That must have been what's playing in the background. Terry Rutledge Smedley, hello. Said she has a lot of this recently. Goddess only knows what we were talking about. But she says she laughs it off, so that's good news. Susan, thank you for advertising about the Witch Wave tomorrow night at 9 p.m. And Shannon is here. And yes, the witch bottle. I love it. I love it. I want to talk to you about putting... This is not the place for business, Gussie. Stop it. Okay. Remind me to talk to you about something. Okay. Deb says, hello. I don't know where that went now. It scrolled away. Christy Reed, who knows? Oh, bless you. Okay.
See, every time somebody adds a new message,
yeah,
or a new emoji, it throws you back.
It does. It throws me back. Yep. So if you're still hanging around and you'd like me to read a card, I think we've been on here for quite a while already. But, Grim, do you want to pull a card for anybody? Okay. Don't forget, tomorrow is that witch wave. But you can also join us tonight at 9 p.m. There's a group of us that wherever 9 p.m. is your time, pause for peace, send out some healing, peaceful, harmonious energy, and keep some for yourself first. That's kind of how this works. Put on your own oxygen mask. So as you're sitting there taking your deep, calming, healing breaths, take in what you need, hold it for a second, allow that breath to kind of circulate where it needs to go. You know where the spots that are boo-boos are located. You know what's hurt, what feels blocked. You know where it is, whether it's physical or mental or spiritual, Send that healing energy where it needs to go. And let go of the energy, including dead, damaged, dying, or decayed cells that you no longer need within your body. Open that space up for healed cells, rejuvenated cells, or brand new cells that are created just from this intentional, peaceful energy exchange that you take with the universe every night, 9 p.m. your time. And as you breathe out, don't worry, you're not breathing out a bunch of, it's your toxic shit, right? But it's neutral the minute it leaves. The minute it's out of your zone, neutralized back to the universe and to be replenished. That's why there is magic all around us. It just matters how you use it. Graham's over there raising his hand. Yes, the young man in the corner.
Yes, as we're envisioning the dead, dying, diseased cells that no longer serve our body any good or purpose, we have to remember to release them out of our bodies. We can't hoard them anywhere else in our bodies. They need to be released. And I'm saying that because I've realized there's times that when I'm trying to send healing energy to where I'm feeling an ailment, I don't push through that ailment to allow the energy to continue flowing. I just get to that spot, and that's where I focus.
Oh, you know what? I love that. It also brings it back around to what we were talking about earlier today, with the whole concept of when you receive new items in your possession because it was just Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever your gift exchange holiday was, right? You receive something new and cherished that someone gifted you that you love, and you want to make a spot for it on your bookshelf or dresser or on your table or something. And so you might need to look at what is there already and decode how you feel about that object. Is it something that you can dust off and move to a new location? Or is it something that you can give away? Or is it something that you put in a box that you save for later and put in the attic somewhere? We move the energy, just like we move the items in our lives, making room for something new, like the witch bottle, right? Like the witch bottle. We make room for new. It's a healing process. Letting go of the things that we don't remember where they even came from anymore. Sometimes that applies to our emotional triggers as well. Sometimes we get ourselves really upset about something, but when you ask, and this happens more frequently than you know, when I'm doing shadow work with someone and they're, really feeling some way about something, and this is how they feel every year around this time. And I'll ask where that came from, and a lot of times they really can't trace it anymore. It's been part of their process of feeling this way this time of year for so long that they really can't pin it on one thing. And, why am I saying that? What am I talking about? But you were shaking your head yes, so I must have been saying something right.
You're making sense.
Okay. I don't know where that came from.
There are shadows that I've learned to release, not knowing where they came from. why does this bother me?
Mm-hmm.
It does. I don't know why, but it doesn't need to be with me anymore.
Right.
Those are kind of the hardest shadows to get rid of, though, when you can't find the cause.
Yeah. Well, because we always want we want closure to it.
Right.
And the thing is that we have to realize is that we might not ever have closure on some of these situations that have arisen in our lives. We might not ever have the closure that or retribution or whatever that you feel might make you feel satisfied in the outcome. Sometimes we won't feel that way. Does that repeat in another lifetime? Does that mean we didn't learn the lesson and we have to come back and repeat it? I don't think so, not necessarily. If you figure it out and the other person doesn't, that other person will have to come back and do the whole scenario again. It'll be a different friend, a different person, a different scenario, but the theme will be the same, and the lesson in the end will be a similar lesson learned. So it's
like another series of Supernatural. Just a whole new box of shadows.
Oh,
the same stories to tell.
Yeah, we've been watching, Mist and I have been binge watching, if you will. We've been watching about 2 or 3 episodes. Is that binging? I don't think so. But a day of Supernatural. She and I are they and I are just really excited about spending that time together. First of all, that's half the fun. But, you know, the themes are so ridiculous. And not really. I mean, you know me, I believe in dark fairies, and I believe in wraiths and things like that. I believe that they exist in other realms, that, you know, once in a while the veil kind of crosses over, and so we get glimpses, especially those of us that are fae or empathic in our own way. So, anywho, I'm just blabbing on. I think I was going to draw a card or two for folks, but we're probably just wind it up. Okay. Well, then.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. Good night, Gussie. I shall bid you all adieu. I want you to know that this is Wednesday, we'll be doing our live stream tomorrow on the 28th and the 29th. Why am I saying something about the 29th?
I don't know. You just wrinkled my brow.
I don't remember.
We don't have a photography shoot.
No. But it was something with these folks. Because we're going to talk about the moon, but I want everyone to continue to think about that letting go process. What's on your dresser or bookshelf that you can let go of? I might be speaking literally. Maybe you should take a look around on your bookshelf. Maybe you should look around and see if there is something that you can let go of there to make room for something new and beautiful in your life. But I also may be speaking metaphorically, and maybe that bookshelf is just a way of saying, you know, time to let go of some of the things that you've held on to for so long that, you know, maybe it's time to not need the cause anymore. You know, sometimes we still fight for a cause. We don't even know what the cause is. So that's your homework for the next couple of days until we meet. Oh, Friday. Yeah. Friday, the 29th is we'll be meeting for our 420-ish tea and tarot. And we'll address this again, hopefully. Somebody write that down so we don't forget. But it's a grand way, and we'll talk about this more, about going into the new year, of letting go. We all know about resolutions, but it's time right now to clean off the shelf so that you can make that resolution, and you can make that. A resolution is a commitment to yourself. That's all it is. It's making a commitment to yourself, and making yourself priority within that commitment. And that sometimes gets to be the tricky part, doesn't it? We'll talk about that. I'm sure that topic will come up, I'm sure. All right, everyone, every witch, we love you. It's been great spending some time with you tonight. I'm sorry I didn't read any individual cards, but as always, if you'd like a reading, please contact me at openthepurpledoor.com. You can do a 15-minute reading, which is only $20, and that's pretty reasonable. I always go over a little bit. Bring a notebook and a pen so you can take notes. And as always, a candle if you have it available and something to light it with. All right, everybody, every witch, I hope that you have a remarkable evening. I hope that you rest, reset, rejuvenate tonight, and let that energy level come back up to normal, right? Get it back into the zone for yourself. And until Friday, ta for now. I just saw Brandon's name down there, so I had to do that. I'm sorry. Stay magical, folks.